Hey y'all, so I realize I haven't given a proper front yard tour in quite a long time. The front yard has come a long ways since we planted it in the fall. We have not planted much other than some annuals since this last fall, and so I wanted to give an overview of the front yard. It's come a long ways. It started to really fill in. There are some things that I'm happy with in the front yard, and there's some things that I'm not happy with in the front yard, but I wanted to just kind of give an overview of the things that worked for us up here and the things that didn't work for us. And so if you followed along for some time, you realize that we did not do the sprinkler system in the front yard, mainly because of the massive tree roots that we have. So when we moved in, this turf that's right behind me here was currently here, and we really wanted to replace it, and we really wanted to redo all of the landscaping that was in the front yard. But because of the tree roots and because of some of the other limitations, we decided to not do that. So what we did instead was modify the sprinkler system where we could, and then adjust the landscape to some more drought tolerant options, which is what we had down in our previous house. If you followed along for some time, you know that we used to live down the street about 8 houses in an old stone cottage house, which we loved so much, and we planted that with some very drought tolerant perennials, and we've done a lot of the same things here, and a lot of things have thrived, some things have not thrived, and so I thought it would be fun to share those things that were a success for us and not a success for us, and then show the things that I've learned over the summer in regards to just learning our sprinkler system, basically. So in the back, we were able to adjust the sprinkler system and totally customize it to our backyard, which is still not foolproof. It never is. But the front yard has been a little bit more of a challenge because we didn't redo the sprinkler system at all. And although we love the turf so much, and we initially thought that we would switch the turf to an actual lawn landscape, we've come to really, really love the turf up here because we just don't think that we can accommodate for the water that the fescue that would be needed up here in the front would need without totally renewing the sprinkler system up here. So anyways, let me just flip around really quick. I want to show you what we're happy with. I'm going to show you the things that struggled, and a lot of the things that struggled up here were things that I didn't expect to struggle with, which is kind of odd, but nonetheless, that's how gardening goes. So let me share with you the successes and the failures. Okay, so as we walk out of the driveway towards the street, let me just start here. So I planted a lot of ajuga here. There is a sprinkler head right there, and there is one right over here, but the tree blocks it. And this ajuga really struggles with water, even though it is in shade 80% of the day. So that was something that I was not expecting. This section over here gets a lot more shade. You can see here that even though some of this Artemisia, this is post-castle Artemisia, and I have a bee on it right now. Let me see if I can zoom in. Gosh, you can't see it, but that is post-castle Artemisia, and even it doesn't get the sun that it needs. So this over here is something this fall that I will be thinking in my mind about revamping. I do not love this space over here at all. We lost some Helen von Stein lambs here, so you can see that that one's still good there. We lost one over there, and we lost one that was further this way. And I was really disappointed in that because lamb's ear is typically a plant that's a really tough plant here for us in Oklahoma, and I was just kind of surprised to lose that. And I lost that in a couple places, which is pretty abnormal because I planted it in a lot of other places down the street where we had about the same sun requirements, and it's just struggled here a little bit. So I lost some Helen von Stein here that I will be replanting. I bought some Helen von Stein, but I didn't buy enough to transplant. I lost about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Helen von Stein lamb's ear, which I wasn't expecting. This boxwood is struggling just a bit. This corner struggles quite a bit, and it needs to fill in. This is a very sloping area, and all of the water slopes down towards me, and it's just kind of a hard irrigation area that I've learned over the last year, and I cannot wait to get these boxwoods trimmed up, which will come soon. Like I said, it's been very cool the last week and a half, yet it's going to be 99 this Saturday, so I need to get out here and water some things, and some things look a little bit unruly, but overall I'm happy with everything that is up here. So I'm very happy with some of the dwarf bunny grass that is here. I really like that grass. It gets a little dry over here on this rock, but I need to water everything, and after this video I will get to that. But you can see some looms here needs a little bit of water. Even though we've been running the sprinkler system, sometimes it just doesn't cut it, because some of the plants that are in front of the sprinklers block a lot of it from the back side. And so I wish that we had some sprinklers along this side of the street that would cover this front side, because I think that's where we lack quite a bit. But overall, I'm really happy with the front. We lost some transplanted yews here, which I knew that would be a risk. And this one over here, I've already pulled out. This one is doing half okay, half not. There's a really, really dry spot that is right here in this area. Even the Whisper Pink catmint is dry right here, so I can tell by the Whisper Pink struggling a little bit that this area is a really dry area. So I will be watering all of that, and if we can come up with some solutions for next year, we will have our sprinkler system adjusted to accommodate that. But honestly, everything else up here looks pretty good. I think we will lose this boxwood over here, which is a huge bummer. It's one that I transplanted, and that will be the first transplanted boxwood that we have lost, which I will consider a success. The one that I showed you down there by the street earlier is struggling a little bit, but it looks better than that one. And then this boxwood is a result of the roofing situation, and so here pretty soon Tommy and I will be digging this up and trying to turn this 180 so that you see this portion of the boxwood, which is what you saw before, instead of this big gaping hole that some of the shingles that came down on it created. But overall, I'm really happy with the front yard. We still have a ways to go up here. These are some things up here that I'm pretty happy with. I've been trying to be really patient up here instead of just packing everything full, planting things and seeing how they adjust, seeing how they do here, and then ultimately adding more things as needed. I think that we do definitely need some more things up here, but this is a hard irrigation area, and so we might have to have that adjusted as well. But overall, super happy up here and really looking forward to how everything will look come this fall and this spring. I have a lot of bulbs that are getting ready to be delivered. So I have over 1,000 bulbs that are scheduled to be delivered, and I will share with you in this video the bulbs that I chose for this next spring. But in the meantime, why don't we go to the back? I have some bee inspections to do, and I'll take you along with me there. Okay, so first off back here, let me show you the celosia. So I posted this on the community tab. Look at the bees. It is crazy how many bees are on this celosia. So this is not a celosia that I planted last year. This is not a celosia that I ordered last year. It must have been incorrect in the package. But what I realized midsummer when the dearth was coming on, so for those of you that don't know, the dearth is when pollen and nectar is very scarce for bees or any pollinating insect, and so they will forage on things that are very close to their hive. Otherwise they will not forage close to their hive. This is a gold mine for these bees, and these are all my bees, which is so crazy. And I tried to get a video of it the other day, and it's impossible to see how many bees and how many pollinating insects are actually on the celosia, but there are thousands at one time. And then last weekend, I treated these guys for mites with oxalic acid vaporization. I then put on, before the oxalic acid vaporization, I put on the entrance reducer, where you can see there where you see the silver. That is the only entrance for these bees. So around this time, when they're going through dearth and pollen and nectar are scarce, it's best to put on the entrance reducer so that you limit robbing for these guys. So that is what I did there, and I'm getting ready to inspect this top super to make sure that nothing is awry. And I'm hoping that at this point, this is my last inspection prior to winter. I will do 2 more oxalic acid vaporizations prior to winter at about 5 days apart. And then I will get these guys through the winter as mite free as possible, enhancing my chances that this colony gets through the winter unscathed. Okay, for this inspection, I am going to just do a top honey super inspection, make sure we don't have any crazy cross comb building going on. At this point, if everything looks good and everything looks filled out for this inspection, I will probably not inspect again until needed, which will be quite a while from now. I will retreat them with oxalic acid vaporization come Thursday. I will check the pest tray after this inspection here pretty soon to see if I see any mite drop from the oxalic acid vaporization treatment on Sunday. Although I checked yesterday, yesterday being Monday, which was more than 24 hours after the treatment, and I didn't see much mite drop. So I assume that we didn't have a ton of mite load going on, which would correlate with what I have seen throughout the summer. I didn't see a lot of mite virus issues going on with this colony. I did see some mid to late July gathering on the ground, which is probably just some bees at the end of their life that didn't want to die in the hive. Bees are generally typically very hygienic, and so they don't like to die in the hive, and so they will leave the hive to die. And so I figured that was what that was for, because otherwise I've seen no red flags with this hive, and I'm very excited about that as a first-year beekeeper. I plan to, if I can get this hive to overwinter successfully, which is the main trick. Overwintering is the biggest thing with beekeeping. They have to have enough stores. You have to feed them. You don't have to feed them, but you need to make sure that they definitely have enough stores to get through winter if you're not wanting to feed them at all. And so, yeah, I'm just checking their stores. They have a lot of honey. They had a lot of honey last time, unless there's been some dearth that I'm unaware of, and they haven't been taking much of the sugar water, then they should be okay. And I bet these honey frames, these 10 frames, are totally filled out or pretty close to it at this point. And so I'm just gonna check that, and I just wanna make sure that these guys are getting geared up for winter so that I could successfully split them next spring and get honey from this exact hive come spring, summer next year. So anyways, let's just get in this hive and see what we can find out. Again, not taking a ton of sugar water. I put the sugar water in there late yesterday, and they're just not taking a ton of it. So that tells me that they have a nectar source somewhere, which makes me very happy. But nonetheless, I want to get in here and see what's going on exactly so that I can fix any cross comb prior to leaving them alone as much as possible for the wintertime. Again, bees propolis everything. Propolis is like, basically it means bee glue, so you can hear this creaking. And that's just a propolis that I'm breaking up to get this inner cover off of this hive. What I will do is check the top of this lid to make sure I don't see the queen anywhere, which I don't expect to see the queen up here. This is basically, like, you can see the propolis here, like this is a good angle. You can see all of this here, kind of where my thumb is. That's all propolis, which is bee glue. And I do not see the queen, so I can set this down on the ground at this point. Give them a little smoke to keep them calm. What I'm doing here is just separating anything that I can see up front that is going to be an issue. Well, honestly, it looks pretty good. And they look like they have a great honey store for winter, so I'm really, really excited about that. Give them a little bit of smoke. Try to kind of keep them calm a little bit. Separate these frames. They propolis everything. Any cracks, any crevices, they like to propolize it. Got a bee currently that's trying to get underneath my so they aren't very happy with me. They're already trying to sting me. I'm gonna give them a little bit more smoke. To keep them calm. Kind of smoked myself a little bit, but they're not very happy with me right now. They're trying to get all on my gloves, which is kind of abnormal. But this is a really fantastic honey frame here. You can see in that bottom corner by where my pinky is working right here that this frame caught a little bit of another frame that was built out a little bit fat. They are kind of dive bombing me, which is pretty rare. which tells me that they aren't very happy with me in regards to getting in their hive. What I don't love, though, what I'm looking at is the bee population seems to be down a little bit from my last inspection, which could just be the time of year. This is a really fat honey frame. It's a very heavy. On this side, it's a little bit wonky, but this side, it's like the perfect honey frame. Straight, perfect comb. Love to see that going into winter. So bees typically cap their honey at around 18% humidity. That's when you know it's ready to harvest. So this frame, I could absolutely harvest at this point, and not risk any kind of fermentation or anything like that, because I know that it should be around 18% humidity. Again, just a beautiful honey frame, very heavy. Again, another really nice honey frame. I'm just scraping some edges off here that don't really need to be here, but gosh, what a frame. That is so nice. These bees are set up extremely well for winter, and that makes me extremely happy. Beekeeping is also about slow, controlled movements, and so if you're wondering why I'm in this hive all the time, moving at somewhat of a snail's pace, that is your answer. Bees don't like fast movements. They don't like fast movements, so the slower you move, the more controlled you move, the easier your inspection tends to be. We're a little short on this frame. Over here on this right-handed side, a little bit short, nothing crazy. This side looks pretty good, not totally capped, but this is you can see here the difference between capped and not capped. Like here at the bottom of the this frame, it's not capped. Same with this over here, but they will eat a lot of this during the winter time. They need honey, pollen, and bee bread water to get through the winter. And do not like these black gloves, I swear. They aren't super thrilled with me, but as to be expected this time of year, I'm gonna actually have to go get some more burlap here in just a second to put in my smoker. I thought this would be a very quick, another really nice frame of honey. I feel like this frame was capped the last time I did this inspection, and you can see this whole middle third of it is not capped, and they have probably eaten that as resources, so that is to be expected. I do have a lot of bees down below in the brood box that I can see, so I am happy with that. Nice frame of honey here. Actually, this frame has some pollen. That dark central portion that you can see, that is pollen or bee bread. This has a nice healthy frame of honey. It's very heavy. Overall, just a really nice frame of honey. Same for this back side. Mostly capped. 99% capped. They aren't super thrilled with me. I will say that I did order Italian honeybees. So a package of Italian honeybees is supposed to be the most docile. I've been very happy with the temperament of this hive throughout the year. Although they get testy when dearth comes, I've been very happy with this hive, even though they've requeened themselves. So what happens is you will get a package of bees or a nuke of bees. A package is literally just a package of about 3 pounds of freebies, and you can choose to, you know, put foundation on their frames or not. I chose to go foundationless, which I just prefer to have the bees do everything. And I can see right now in this frame down here that I'm looking at, the 9th and 10th frame on this hive, I can see that that's an issue. So foundationless is a little bit more of a headache than if you gave these bees foundation, but bees are bees, and I want them to do what they do. And so I chose to go foundationless. And it is a little bit more work during inspection to make sure that they are building straight comb and things like that. But overall, I've been very pleased with it, and I will go foundationless again in my second hive, which I will put over there come this spring. But even though this hive has requeened themselves, so I will, like, this hive came with an Italian queen bee. Most bees are mutts, if we're being honest, and this hive has requeened themselves, and I allowed them to requeen themselves, and they will mate with other drones that are local, and so they will have local genetics. And so that can either be a good thing or a bad thing, depending. If you have a really aggressive hive, a lot of people will opt to pinch the queen and then replace the queen with a queen of their liking, of a genetic lineage that they trust from a queen breeder. But I chose to let them raise their own queen once they decided they didn't like their package queen. And that happened early June. And so after that, they have been really fine. I don't feel like their temperament changed at all, other than being a little bit more testy because it was that time of year with dearth. So I can't complain about that. But overall, I've been super pleased. So you can get different types of bees. So you can get Russian bees, you can get Russian hybrid, you can get Italian bees, you can get buckfast bees, you can get all these different type of bees, and some of them are specific to, like, hey, Italian bees are best for a beginner, Russian bees are best for experienced beekeepers, and that is based on their aggressive genetics. So like Russian bees, the more aggressive bees that you have, the more honey they produce, the more productive that they are, but the harder that they are to work. And so I started out with Italian as a beginning beekeeper. I'm glad I did. I've had zero issues with these bees. Their temperament is very good, to the point where I have decided that I am going to do a split in the spring, and I'll split this hive. I'll take this queen and about 4 or 5 frames of brood, food, and pollen, and I will move it to the new hive and give this hive new frames to build out. And then I will have new bees and not have to buy a package of bees. So bees are very resilient, and they do well in instances like that. So that is my plan for this next coming spring. This frame is really propolized, and so I'm gonna go get a little bit more smoke material really quick, and I will be right back. Again, happy with this frame. These next 2 frames are gonna be an issue, I can already tell. Okay, so I should have my smoker going a little bit better here. This frame is going to be an issue, I can already tell, which is typical because this is the last frame in this hive, and it is furthest away from the sun, which is typical. And they've just kind of built into the concaves of this other frame, which is what they typically do in their honey super. So I can't complain too much, but I don't really think I need to pull this frame out, but I'm going to pull this frame out, even though it's going to be very hard to get out of here because it's very propolized. So propolization is just like bee glue. For those of you that do not know, very nice frame here. Very nice frame of honey. You can see over here where my index finger is, they haven't quite capped this. This is all new since the last inspection I did. And then this over here isn't quite capped as well either. But again, this is all fresh comb that I've allowed this hive to build. I have not provided any sort of comb for them. And so I'm very happy with their production thus far. So I'm not gonna pull out this last frame because there's no need. I can see that the frame is just fine. I'm going to scoot these other frames back over here. They're becoming not very happy with me, as they do typically the longer that you're in their hive. Do my best to keep this at a slow pace, but sometimes, see, that's what I mean. Sometimes the propolis makes it very difficult to move at a slow pace, and you just kind of have to my goal every time I inspect the hive is to not crush any bees, but that is very unrealistic sometimes, especially when you have 50,000 bees in a hive. It is very hard not to crush any bees, especially with all the propolis and everything else that you have going on in there. The more experienced I get, the better that I get with this too, but okay, so I have 8 frames in. Smoke the corners so that I can put these other frames in. overall, I'm extremely happy. With this hive. I've got 0 complaints as a first-year beekeeper, so other than they could finish out this frame and that 10th frame, but honestly, they're doing pretty good. Okay, and I'm just gonna get these hives centered, which honestly, these frames are pretty centered. So I am going to go ahead and shake these bees off of the lid. Smoke the bees off of the corner of the edges. Put this bad boy on. Overall, very easy inspection. I need to get these bees out from under this, which is going to be an issue. All right, well, that is all for today's video, from the front yard tour to the beekeeping inspection. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you don't mind, please like and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video. Bye.